Welcome back, YouTubers. So to continue the series of the brake caliper rebuild, I got my parts in today. So there's a couple points that I wanted to hit on that I missed last time, and I decided to actually make this a three-part video because what we're not discussing here is the master cylinder. I happen to have a Harley Davidson that has to have a master cylinder rebuild, which once you learn the concept of how brakes work, it's the same across all aspects of braking, from dirt bikes to street bikes. They're all the same. So we'll be rebuilding a master cylinder from a Harley. Like I said, it's the same thing after we get done with the brake calipers. But I got all the parts in. This caliper is, I put it all together. The only thing that I'm missing was the I didn't get any pin lube, and I thought I had some. So this is all put back together. One of the things I didn't mention in the first video was where this was stuck. So this slide was stuck. This is my left front tire, and once it's stuck, you have to be careful with it. So I put a pry bar in here, just worked it back and forth until the slide came out. And I just took it to a wire wheel, cleaned all this off, and then it's ready to roll and put back together. Back to the pistons. I didn't want to put just one new piston in the caliper, so I bought two, and I picked the worst out of the four between the two calipers. That one's obviously roached. This one had some chips on the sides. And I said in the first video that they've changed the contact pad from the brake pad. So this number, if you look on OEM parts, this piston supersedes these on the OEM parts catalog. Again, this quad's 30 years old, but you can still get parts for it from Honda because they use these on other bikes as well. So I've put the piston seals in on the one side. I'm going to show you how to get them in on the other because they're really finicky. And there's something you got to pay attention to, most importantly to the outer one. There's I don't know if you're going to be able to see it, but there's a two-lip seal. You got to make sure that the two parts of the seal are on the inside. You can flip them around and they can go in the wrong way. So make sure you got the two lips on the inside. So the piston seal I'm going to put in first. You kind of got to work it in there. And they can be very frustrating because it's a machine's opening. Just got to get it into the spot and then work it around. And make sure that they do not twist. Okay, so there's the first seal in. Key thing to do, like the first video I showed you, the corrosion was from the water getting past the dust seal and getting into the groove. So the water will mix with the brake fluid and it'll corrode the aluminum. If you take your finger and push really hard and run your finger around, if there's some corrosion that you missed in cleaning out the groove, you'll feel a lump. If you feel that lump, take that seal back out because you are going to play hell trying to get the piston back in. So I've cleaned this one out good. There's no lumps there. We'll put the second one in, the dust seal, making sure that the two grooves are facing the piston surface. Oops, pushed it too far. So I mean, this will borderline make you insane sometimes. Get in there. Okay, so that one's in. Again, I'm feeling around, make sure I don't feel any lumps from the corrosion still being in the slot for the piston seal. These being new pistons can be difficult. If they go right in, we're going to buy a lotto ticket. I just take a little bit of brake fluid, rub it into the seals to help the piston slide through. Stick the piston in there. And it's just like putting a jug on a piston. It's got to be lined up just right in order for it to go in. Now, being new pistons, see it's not lined up right. You may have to give them some persuasion to go in. So what I do, where'd my hammer go? Oh, I just take the butt end of the hammer and I just smack it with my hand to drive it in. Notice the hammer's got a rubber end on it, so I'm not damaging the piston. But we'll do the same with the other. Gotta make sure it's lined up straight. Crooked. So you want to make sure the piston's straight, because if it's going in crooked, it's going to grab onto that seal and tear the seal. And then you'll end up squirting brake fluid out of the between the piston and the caliper, and that one went right in. So here's the frustrating one. This is a slide rubber. So this is I got rebuild kits for both calipers. I'm not endorsing brands by any means, but I have good luck with all balls calipers. They come with the copper seals, the dust caps, come with the piston seals. I've used them for years, had good luck with them. Here's the trick, because this will borderline drive you insane, getting this back through that hole. A little dish soap. Take the pin that it comes with for the caliper, or for the brake pad retainer, stick it in the spot, boom, done. Like I said, you will go insane trying to get that through there any other way. And you're actually trying to push it through with a screwdriver will tear the seal, and then you'll end up in the same bolt. Caliper will be locked up because the pin's stuck from contamination getting into the opening. Slide this one right in. So if I had my caliper lube, or the pin lube, I just stick the tube in there, fill that up, fill this one up, slide this one in, and then we'd be ready to rock. But I don't know what happened to my caliper stuff, so I have to get some tomorrow. But you guys get the understanding of how to rebuild a caliper, why they stick, both methods, from the slide here getting stuck and the pistons getting hung up because of the contamination from water coming in. Said in the last video, could be power washer. I'm guilty of it. Could be riding in water. Could be riding in water, but both these calipers will be good to go for years now. As far as the bleeding goes, I drew out a piece of paper on the first one of how the hydraulics work. The best way that I found is to gravity bleed a caliper. So say it's mounted to the hub like this. Actually, this is wrong. With the bleeder sticking up. Go to the hardware store, auto parts store, buy a piece of vacuum line, stick it on to the nipple part here of the bleeder screw, loosen it up, run that bleeder screw down to a little Tupperware dish, whatever it be, to collect the oil, and allow gravity to take the air out. Once you start seeing a solid stream of oil coming out into your Tupperware dish, then tighten down your bleeder screw and start to pump the brakes. So like I said in the first video, hydraulic fluid will not compress, air will. So if there's air stuck in the system and you grab onto the brake and it feels spongy, like it'll pull all the way to the handle, you got an air pocket stuck in there. Gravity bleeding will get 90% of that air out. So pump it with the bleeder closed, pump it up till it gets hard, open that bleeder screw with your hose attached, avoid you from making a mess because brake fluid can be, it can remove your paint, whatever. And that leads me to another thing, a little squirrel syndrome right there, but make sure on your master cylinder that you use the same fluid that's specified on the master cylinder. There's .3, .4, .5. There's multiple brake fluids you can use. You cannot cross-contaminate. Whatever's specified on the master cylinder is what you have to use. Well, 2 functional rebuilt calipers. As soon as I get my slide lube, we'll be back in business for a few years now. Part 3 will be the master cylinder rebuild from a Harley. Like I said, it's the same concept as any other bike up until you get to an ABS bike for on-road. That's a whole different ballgame. But for off-roading, they're going to be compatible amongst all 3 of them. So, if you like what I'm doing, like me sharing my knowledge, give me a subscribe and a like. Stay tuned.